TitleMatchNetwork.com.
Did you ever see the tension between Dusty and Flair behind the scenes?
I think that was really overblown. I think probably there was a little jealousy. But really, when you stop and think of it, what did Ricky and Dusty have to be upset about?
They're both on top.
They were both making more money than they ever made in their whole life. The Crockett's had a G1 and they had a Learjet. We were flying on the G1 or the Learjet. We were all making $200,000 a year. Everyone's carrying Louis Vuitton, Gucci's, or Halliburton's, all in Brioni suits, all driving Benzes or Lexus or Cadillacs or Lincolns. I mean, what was there to be angry about?
Memories of managing Larry Zbyszko.
Had a good time with Larry Zbyszko.
Good guy, too.
I got nothing but time for Larry Zbyszko.
How did things change after Dusty left the company?
The last semblance of any reality was George Scott. George Scott came in to replace Dusty for a short period of time, and he's the one that asked me to develop a kabuki-like guy. And after that, they went into the committee,
Right.
and it was all downhill after that. The only thing they really had was Ricky, Terry, Sting, and Muda,
Right.
which we did tremendous business for well over a year. But other than that, it was constant turmoil with everyone else. Everyone trying to get a bigger contract, get an extension on a contract. No one wanted to cooperate or do anything for anyone else. It really fell apart. Jim Hurd had not a clue. Jim Barnett was happy just to sit back and take his money. Jim Ross was very new at things like this. The committee that they developed, nobody on that committee had any booking experience. None of them was people that you could say were legitimate main event guys who had drawn a lot of money over the years. They were all novice, wanting to be bookers and manipulators, but very few of them had any real experience at running a company of that size.
Do you think Flair saw you as one of Dusty's guys and treated you any differently?
No, I don't. I think Ricky, Ricky was one of my boys too. You got to remember Ricky Flair, when he was world champion, Harley Race wanted that belt back, and Dusty Rhodes wanted that belt back. I was the booker in the Dallas office, one of the bigger territories, and I was constantly on the phone to anyone that would listen, praising Ricky Flair and the importance of keeping him with the title. No, I don't think Ricky saw me anything other than an ally to him.
Take us back to the night that Dusty turned babyface in Florida.
Well, that was a unique situation because Jack Briscoe was the biggest thing that had hit Florida in years. And Dusty came in at the time when Jack was the world's heavyweight champion. And Florida was a situation, if Jack Briscoe wasn't on the card, it was very hard to draw money. You could get a house, but you couldn't do big business. And Dusty was a heel, along with Pac Song. And Bill Watson, Eddie, it was obvious to all of us that Dusty was becoming a fan favorite, because him and I would do little things during the match where I would try to tell him something to do and he would rebel and tell me no, and I would demand he do it. He would jump out of the ring, come down and point it. So the people, we were giving them little hints that something was up, and then we did the final switch in the Armory with Mike Graham and Eddie Graham against Dusty and Pac Song. Can't remember the exact scenario, but it was something where Pac ended up hitting Dusty and knocking Dusty to the floor. And then Pac was beating on Eddie Graham, and Dusty came in and cleaned the ring. And from then on, he was the American Dream.
Did he produce as expected, or more so as a babyface?
Oh, yes. I don't think anyone, we knew it was going to be good, but I don't think anyone really understood what was going to happen. Once he made that switch, it became the American Dream. We sold out every arena for 16 weeks. Now that's going to the same arena every week.
And that can't be done today. So
No,
Yeah.
16 weeks in a row. Every arena that we were in, Miami, West Palm, Orlando, St. Petersburg, Jacksonville, Tallahassee, everything was packed. And I mean, the people in Florida fell in love with Dusty, and business just skyrocketed. And I would say for my career, with the exception of Buddy Rogers, I never saw a piece of talent that packed arenas week after week like he did.
could you ever sense that Dusty would become later in life, I guess, corrupted by power in a sense?
I never knew him that way. I never thought Dusty was corrupt in any way.
Right.
Dusty was, I give you a little story. I met Dusty in 1967. The Spoiler and I were looking for a new tag team partner. We went to the dressing room in Fort Worth, Texas, and over in the corner sat a kid, a blonde-headed kid with a pair of granny glasses down on his nose like this, like Benjamin Franklin, reading a book of poetry. So I said to Donald, I said, that kid over there, he's a good look about himself. And Donald says, why don't we watch him? Maybe we'll make him our partner. So we went out and we watched him. He was very green, but he had some charisma. He really did. And he could capture the attention of the people. So I'm really the one, me and Donald, that discovered Dusty. And then, of course, I took him to Australia with me. And then, of course, we went into the Florida situation where we made the switch and he became from the plumber's son to the American dream. And then throughout Atlanta, always made nothing but money with him. When he was the booker in the Carolinas in the late 80s, I was the booker for Fritz von Erich with World Class. And Dusty came to me and said, Gary, we're coming to Texas. Jimmy Crockett and I would like to have you be part of our company. So I said, fine. I left World Class and went with him and Jimmy and was never treated better in my life. I heard a lot of guys say a lot of bad things about Dusty. I saw a lot of guys come to the Carolinas driving beat up cars and wore out sneakers. And in a couple years, they were driving Mercedes, they were carrying Louis Vuitton, they were wearing Rolex watches, they were staying at Hyatt's rather than a Red Roof Inn.
Right.
Dusty made a lot of guys a lot of money, and a lot of these guys showed no loyalty and knocked him continuously, said horrible things. But I have known Dusty Rhodes since 1967, and he's precious in my eyes and one of my very best and dearest friends. Cannot say anything bad about him in any manner. Was he egotistical? Of course he was. He was Dusty Rhodes.
Right.
Was he power happy? I don't think so.
You said without Dusty, there would never be a Hulk Hogan or Ultimate Warrior.
No, there wouldn't be, or a Rock either.
Right. Why do you say that?
Very simple. Dusty Rhodes was the first flamboyant fan favorite. He was the first guy to stand up and talk like a heel but come across like a babyface. He invented pandemonium in wrestling. There was no pandemonium before Dusty Rhodes.
I was going to ask you, how did you wind up working for Eddie Graham?
I didn't work for Eddie Graham. I worked for Jim Barnett.
Down in Florida, okay.
Yeah.
Did
Now,
you?
Eddie was the promoter, but Jim owned a piece of the business.
Right.
My loyalty was towards Jim Barnett.
Okay. Memories of Eddie Graham.
Eddie was a hardcore guy, a very bad payoff man, which I did not like. I remember 4th of July, 1964, Jacksonville Civic Center. We had $50,000 house. Imagine, $50,000 in 1974.
Right.
Dusty Rhodes, Pac Song, paid Pac and I $500 apiece. 1%.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I never liked him because of the way he paid his talent. And I would not have stayed without Jim Barnett encouraging me and sending me money from Atlanta.
Do you agree with a lot of people what they say about Eddie as far as being one of the best finish guys in the business? Or
I think Eddie Graham knew how to manipulate wrestlers. I think his finishes were obvious, knocking down referees. I think it became, maybe in the beginning it was unique, but as time went on, I think a lot of people, as soon as they saw a referee go down, they would start looking to the back. Was he a great man? Yes, in wrestling, but was he the smartest guy I ever met? No.
why do you think Eddie killed himself?
God, I couldn't even fathom a guess why he would do something like that.
Right.
I mean, he had a wonderful son, Mike. I've always liked Mike. Mike was really a nice guy. He had a nice, lovely wife. He had a great business. I don't know why he would do that. How do we know why anyone would do something like that?
Right. A lot of people say he was involved with the wrong people, real estate and stuff like that. So.
Well, I mean, there are so many rumors. As far as factual information on things like that, I really don't know.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.